You've been told that protecting your kidneys is just about cutting salt or managing blood sugar. But that's only half the story. Right now, your kidneys might be facing a bio-mismatch, a silent chemical war triggered by foods you actually think are healthy. We're talking about a hidden accumulation that calcifies your tissues and exhausts your filtration system without a single spark of pain until it's too late. Today, we're counting down the top 10 kidney destroyers, including the health foods that are secretly sabotaging your biology. Let's start with number 10. Number 10 is high sodium processed foods. Now, you've probably been told 1,000 times that salt is the enemy. But here is the thing. Salt isn't actually the villain. The real problem is a lack of balance. You see, your kidneys operate on a very specific biological pump. And that pump requires two main players, deoxy, sodium, and potassium. When you eat processed soups, frozen dinners, or fast food, you're getting hit with a massive wave of sodium without any potassium to counter it. This creates a state of osmotic stress. To keep your kidneys operating efficiently, the osmotic pressure at the filtration membrane must stay stable. When sodium levels skyrocket without enough potassium, your body is forced to hold on to water just to dilute that salt. This spikes your blood pressure and places direct physical friction on your microvascular tissues. Over time, those tiny vessels in your kidneys start to scar and harden. But here is the solution. It's not about living a flavorless life. It's about the 1-to-2 ratio. Biochemically, potassium acts like a trigger that tells your kidneys to flush out excess sodium. If you're having a meal that's high in salt, you need to rescue your kidneys by consuming at least twice that amount in potassium-rich foods like avocados, spinach, or sweet potatoes. Even adding fresh lemon juice provides citrate, which helps prevent those mineral salts from crystallizing in your renal tubules. You don't have to fear salt. You just have to stop leaving your kidneys without the tools they need to process it. Number 9 is coffee creamers. Most people think creamer implies dairy, but the reality is that most of these are non-dairy chemical cocktails. They are loaded with titanium dioxide for color and emulsifiers to blend fat with water. These synthetic additives have been shown to interfere with the structural integrity of your kidney membranes. When those membranes leak, you start losing protein in your urine, a major red flag for long-term kidney decline. And number 8 is alcohol. We know it causes dehydration, which is stressful enough, but the real danger is the production of uric acid. Think of uric acid as microscopic, glass-like spikes traveling through your bloodstream. Your kidneys are the primary organs responsible for filtering these abrasives out. When you combine alcohol with mixers full of artificial sweeteners or high fructose corn syrup, you are essentially doubling the toxic load, forcing your kidneys to work in a dehydrated state while being scraped by these sharp crystals from the inside out. Number 7 is a big surprise for most of you. It's green smoothies. Now, I know what you're thinking. Green smoothies are the ultimate symbol of health. You drink them when you're on a health kick, feeling like you're doing something amazing for your body. But here is the catch. Ingredients like spinach, beets, and almonds are extremely high in oxalates. When you blend these up and drink them every single day, you can easily hit an oxalate overload. These oxalates bind with calcium to form sharp, jagged crystals that eventually become kidney stones. But why does one person drink green smoothies and feel great, while another develops chronic kidney issues? It comes down to your oxalate threshold and the health of your gut. You see, the danger of oxalate isn't just about the spinach itself. It's about your internal environment. In a healthy gut, You have a specific bacterium called Oxalobacter formigenes that actually eats oxalates for breakfast. It breaks them down before they ever touch your bloodstream. However, if you have a history of antibiotic use, or if you're struggling with something called leaky gut, that protective barrier is gone. Instead of being flushed out, those oxalates leak directly into your blood, heading straight for your kidneys. But you don't have to give up your greens. You just need to be smarter about the chemistry. First, try the mineral binding trick. If you eat your spinach with a source of calcium, like a little yogurt or even some cheese, the oxalate binds to the calcium right there in your digestive tract. When they bind in the gut, they're too big to be absorbed, so they just get flushed out as waste. Second, consider the preparation. Simply boiling your greens instead of eating them raw can reduce the soluble oxalate content by up to 87%. And finally, rotate your greens. Switch out the high oxalate spinach for low oxalate options like kale or romaine lettuce. Don't let a healthy habit turn into a silent attack on your kidneys just because you lack the full picture. Success in health is all about understanding the variables. Number 6 is artificial sweeteners. Now, these are marketed as a guilt-free way to enjoy sweetness, but for your kidneys, they are anything but free. There are 3 specifically you need to watch out for: aspartame, sucralose, and acesulfame potassium. Aspartame is particularly nasty because it breaks down into methanol or wood alcohol, the stuff that can cause blindness, which then further degrades into formaldehyde. This isn't just a theory. These chemicals interfere with the structural integrity of your kidney tissue. Sucralose, on the other hand, actually alters the function of the tubules, impairing the kidney's ability to filter and reabsorb nutrients properly. You're essentially throwing a wrench into a high-precision machine. Number 5 is processed meats. You often hear that protein is bad for the kidneys, but that is a massive oversimplification. The kidneys were designed to handle nitrogenous waste from natural, high-quality protein. The problem starts when you get that protein from deli meats, sausages, and hot dogs. These are loaded with nitrates, nitrites, and something called advanced glycation end products, or AGE. These compounds are highly abrasive and cause significant oxidative stress. Unless you are in the advanced stages of kidney disease, natural beef or eggs aren't the enemy. It's the chemical preservatives in the processed versions that increase the acid load and cause permanent scarring. Number 4 is phosphate-laden foods. And this is where we need to talk about a profound biomismatch. You find these inorganic phosphates in processed cheeses, sodas, frozen TV dinners, and fast food. Now, phosphate itself is a natural mineral. It's part of your bones. But there is a massive difference between the organic phosphate found in a steak and the inorganic phosphate added to a soda. You see, human biology evolved over millions of years to handle organic phosphate, which we only absorb at a rate of about 40%. Our systems have a built-in safety valve to prevent overload, but inorganic phosphates used in processing have no such limit. Because they aren't bound to a food matrix, your gut is tricked and you absorb nearly 100% of them. This creates a massive surge in your bloodstream that your kidneys simply aren't equipped to handle. When your blood is flooded with this excess phosphate, it triggers a terrifying process called soft tissue calcification. Since the kidneys can't filter it fast enough, the phosphate begins to bind with calcium right in your bloodstream. But instead of going to your bones, this mixture settles in your soft tissues, your arteries, and most dangerously, inside the delicate structures of your kidneys. This is a condition known as renal osteodystrophy. Essentially, your kidneys begin to harden or turn to stone from the inside out. It is a direct result of feeding a primitive biological system a concentrated industrial chemical that it never evolved to recognize. To protect yourself, you have to look past the calorie count and start looking at the additives list. If you see phosphate added to the ingredients, put it back on the shelf. Your kidneys were built for nature, not for a laboratory. Number 3 is NSAIDs, or over-the-counter painkillers like ibuprofen and naproxen. Now, I know these aren't exactly food, but so many people consume them like candy that they have to be on this list. You need to understand that your kidneys are incredibly hard-working organs. Even though they only make up 1% of your body weight, they receive 20% of all the blood your heart pumps out. They need that massive flow of oxygen and nutrients to filter out toxin. But when you take an NSAID, it blocks a chemical messenger called prostaglandin. In doing so, it effectively chokes off the blood supply to your kidneys. Imagine trying to run a marathon while someone is pinching your straw. You're doing the same amount of work, but with a fraction of the oxygen. This creates massive cellular stress, leads to tissue death, and if used frequently, causes a permanent loss of your filtering capacity. This includes almost any mass-produced vegetable oil you see in the store. Corn oil, canola, soybean oil. The problem isn't necessarily the plant they come from. It's the industrial processing. To get the oil out of these seeds, they use extreme heat, massive pressure, and chemical solvents like hexane. This process oxidizes the lipids and creates toxic byproducts called aldehydes. These aldehydes are directly poisonous to your kidney cells. They damage the glomeruli, the tiny functional units of the kidney, and cause scarring in the tubules. Over time, eating these oils is like pouring industrial solvent through a delicate silk screen. And before we get to number 1, I want to address a huge misconception that I know many of you are worried about. Protein. You hear all the time that protein is bad for your kidneys. But the truth is, protein doesn't damage a healthy kidney. Your kidneys actually need high-quality protein to repair and heal their own tissues. The confusion comes from the fact that protein produces nitrogen waste, which the kidneys have to filter. If you already have advanced kidney disease, then yes, you might need to back off. But for the average person, the protein is a villain narrative, is a distraction. The real danger isn't the steak, it's the metabolic damage, the dehydration, and the industrial chemicals we've been talking about that prevent your kidneys from doing their job. Your kidneys are resilient, but they cannot protect you if you are constantly stripping away their blood flow and poisoning them with oxidized fats. Focus on the real enemies, not the building blocks your body needs to survive. Number 1 is sugar, and more specifically, fructose. Now, I know what you're thinking. You've been told sugar is bad because it causes weight gain or insulin resistance. But the scariest thing about sugar has nothing to do with your waistline. It's about a metabolic explosion that happens inside your liver and kidneys. But before I explain that, we have to talk about why we've been so blind to this danger. In psychology, there's something called the health halo effect. This is why we feel perfectly safe consuming high amounts of agave nectar, honey, or expensive fruit juices. Because they're labeled as natural or raw, our brains turn off their critical thinking. We assume that if it comes from a plant, it can't possibly be a kidney destroyer. But your kidneys don't read the labels on your organic agave syrup. They only react to the molecule. Most cells in your body can process glucose for energy, but fructose can only be processed by your liver. When your liver is flooded with fructose, it triggers a massive, rapid breakdown of ATP, your body's energy currency. This isn't a controlled burn. It's a crash. As ATP is scavenged, it releases a byproduct called adenosine, which contains nitrogen. This nitrogen is then converted directly into uric acid. Most people associate uric acid with eating too much red meat. But fructose is actually one of the fastest ways to spike your uric acid levels. Think of uric acid as microscopic, glass-like shards. These crystals are sharp, jagged, and abrasive. When they hit your kidneys, they don't just sit there. They physically scrape and scar the delicate filtration membranes from the inside out. Over time, this leads to permanent scarring and a total loss of function. The health halo around agave and honey has tricked millions into thinking they are making a better choice, when in reality, they are just delivering a more concentrated dose of fructose to their system. Agave, for instance, can be up to 80% fructose. That's higher than high fructose corn syrup. You are essentially pouring microscopic glass into your bloodstream under the guise of a health food. To save your kidneys, you have to look past the marketing. You have to realize that a molecule of fructose is a molecule of fructose, whether it comes from a laboratory or a cactus. If you truly want to stop the silent attack on your kidneys, you must break the spell of the health halo. Stop treating natural sugars as a free pass. Your kidneys are begging for a break from the uric acid storm. It's time to choose the hard truth over the sweet lie. Now, I don't want to leave you in a state of fear. Your kidneys are incredibly resilient, but they cannot heal in an environment of constant chemical stress. If you want to stop the damage and start the recovery, you need a clear biological roadmap. Step 1. Eliminate high concentration fructose immediately. By cutting out the liquid sugars and processed sweeteners, you stop the uric acid storm that is currently scarring your tissues. Step 2. Stabilize your insulin. High insulin levels act like a vice, constricting the blood flow your kidneys desperately need. And step 3, prioritize high-quality bioavailable proteins, like eggs or fermented plant proteins. These provide the essential amino acids your kidneys need to repair their own cellular structures without the heavy nitrogen load of processed meats. The path to health isn't about expensive detoxes. It's about making your internal chemistry work for you, not against you. If this information gave you that aha moment, make sure to share this video. You might just help someone you love break through that health halo and save their kidneys before it's too late. Subscribe and hit that bell to keep mastering your health with me. I'll see you in the next life-saving video.